all they do is just, here's the tool, here's how you use it. And it's gotten so simple that it's worth trying because it demystifies it. And it opens up creative portals for you. So I would encourage everyone here, if you're doing the course with Daniel, it's not just about understanding with the mind, like what AI is and having these different speakers like me come in but like really try the stuff, and I'm happy to show you under the hood of how I make some of the videos. And you'll see that, I mean, the big thing is the ideas and the execution. And yes, I have a unique, maybe storytelling gift, but anyone pretty much here can make these things in their own, to their best of their abilities. It's pretty simple. And as far as getting an image, getting a sound, putting an image with a sound together, turning them still into a video, this kind of thing. It's all doable. So part of what this generative AI stuff is doing is that democratization. Of course, that comes with some consequences, and there's some negative stuff to talk about, and there's some ethical models now, like Moon Valley came out in the last 2 weeks. Those are friends of mine who want to do a clean ethical model where everything is licensed, and therefore you can use it for clients, or you can feel good about it. Doesn't solve the energy consumption part, but it solves the ethical part, this kind of thing. So in any case, I just want to encourage everyone here to just pick a tool and play with it, like Daniel's saying, and see what comes out. Spend 20 minutes, like watch a demo, watch how to use ElevenLabs, how to use Midjourney, how to use VO3, and just subscribe to the basic $5-10 version and try a few things. Well,
my feeling is that we're kind of at one of those moments, like in the early days of the internet, when suddenly there's all this potential available. And if sort of the people don't, seize that potential, ultimately that the window closes, as it did when like Facebook and sort of Google and Twitter kind of enclosed, the internet. We kind of never gained it back. That's why I'm so interested in vibe coding and the possibility that we can make even like sharing platforms or for democracy platforms, because essentially things that used to cost like bazillions of dollars are now basically free. And that does not mean that there aren't expenses with like marketing and hosting and so on. But yeah, I mean, that's my own interest is, could we, use a set of these tools to kind of flip the script on the culture. One of my theories as to why the tech oligarchs felt the need to kind of merge with the US government and kind of take over the government from the inside is not that they were feeling so secure about their future, but seeing the trajectory of AI, they were actually feeling pretty insecure, because they realized that a lot of the things that they had, made huge fortunes on were also going to be democratized. And we've seen that, with China and with like DeepSeek. Yeah, China is kind of like outdoing a lot of American tech right now, whether it's the BYD cars, which are way cheaper than Tesla, or TikTok, which is, outperformed Instagram and so on. So I think there's a lot of trepidation in this tech world, and there's a merger with the government as an attempt to kind of like just grab the reins of power in like a permanent way. So the sort of people, the individuals, don't have that opportunity to kind of turn the table on them. And I think what Ari has been doing is really mind-blowing. And I have to admit, at first I was like, not quite sure what I thought. I still have my own little bit of qualms in terms of like, because we always end up focusing again and again on Musk and Trump, and I end up watching videos about them every day. And I was like, Jesus, like, even this vision of Trump becoming spiritual or Musk awakening, I was like, isn't it just like ultimately more Musk and more Trump? But the more that I've sat with it and seen the recent ones, and some of the even more, maybe less mass cult ones you've done, like the one about Gurdjieff and so on, the more I think it's really, really amazing. And yeah, like very visually compelling, very funny, shift something in people's minds when they see them for the first time. So I'm really happy that you could join us, Ari, and I really appreciate what you got to share with us. I'm going to pass the mic over to you, and you can share your screen if you want, and whatever feels good.
Yeah, maybe like a quick introduction for those who don't know. I'm a storyteller. I went to film school. I fell in love with editing in film school. I, you know, started a production company 20 years ago called Missing Pieces at the when the first revolution of we can edit with our own cameras and in our laptops, shoot with our cameras, edit in our laptops and upload it. And YouTube had just come out and Vimeo had just come out, and it, like Daniel's saying, there was a new wave of like the promise of like the creators and the people can make stuff and millions will watch it and it'll be democratized and the big ideas will rise to the top. And of course, like the market speaks and the things happen, and in some ways it hasn't quite panned out like that. But I have always had this bent toward for the last maybe 10 years, I've been with this kind of going back to this idea of like, how can we imagine a better world is possible? How can we create more positive visions of the future in the culture? I feel like, and Daniel's spoken about this, like we're kind of stuck in postmodern malaise and a kind of, show me all the problems, but none of the solutions. And this is bad for us. Like that all the futures we see are shittier versions of the future, and that we're kind of stuck in this kind of doom scroll. Like there's just not a lot of alternatives to like news, which is essentially bad news, and our polarization, which is being led by the algorithms and AI, and dystopia in the culture, so the nihilism, dystopia, all this thing. So I really felt like with AI, it's for me, it was a call to do this. And it started with me playing with my daughter, with it. She was 5 and she wanted to do a show about cats going on adventures. And we made these little animated things. And it was so much fun because I felt like a kid again making them. And I remember why I was in the thing in the first place. You kind of forget. I felt the childlike wonder, the play for play's sake, the creativity for creativity's sake. I mean, I feel like we all can connect to that. And that's what this generative AI tools were doing for me. So I really experimented with this for a while, trying things out. And what I realized is because I was so fast, because I'm an editor, and because I have these ideas and could see the polarization and could see, kind of like Daniel, very meta, can kind of like look at what's happening. I could see that AI was a great tool to anticipate and react to the culture in real time and to create a parallel alternative world, a healing vision for a broken world, like a parallel timeline in which the most divisive people are doing the thing and saying the thing that you would least expect them to say. And as the tools have gotten better, I've gotten better, and I've been doing it consistently for the past year. This all led to last August when one of the many ideas I had was Trump. We should have a video of Trump doing ayahuasca. This has been a kind of like trope since the 60s or 70s. And if we could just dose them, they will wake up. And I thought, oh, this is a great chance to try it out. I had the inspiration. I made it in 3 hours. This is something I'll talk about being in the flow state and why I work in the way that I do. And I put it out and had no idea that 50 or 100 million people would watch that thing. And so I was kind of off to the races and realized that this had tremendous potential. And so I have these 2 tracks, like Daniel says. One is reacting to the culture and creating an alternate timeline, which sometimes involves the Musk Trumps of the world, because they seem to be the most, in the news, in your face, in causing some of the most trouble. And sometimes I'm doing this kind of time travel with AI, going somewhere like the Prairie with Gurdjieff that has no film. There's no video of that. There's no film of that. That was in the 20s, so the cameras were invented, but nobody filmed it. There's 1 or 2 photos of Gurdjieff maybe in his life, like 4 maybe. So what would it be like to go back to the prairie and or what would it be back to go to Esalen in the 60s? So that's been the other track that I've been experimenting with AI. So what I'd like to do, for me, the alchemy of these things is in the films themselves. So I like to show, not, show, don't tell me. So I'll play you this kind of two-parter, which started with a commission. I got reached out by TED, the TED organization, saying, we like your shorts. If you do something, do something that, and we'll put it on the TED main stage. And I thought, oh, this is a good chance to try something. And I came up with this character that I then use in the second one that I'll show you. So I'll show you both back to back because they feel related and connected to me. And I'm going to play you the first one, and then I'll play you the second one back to back. So then I had the character, this kind of crystal being, and when the Trump plane, the Qatari plane for the $400 million gift/bribe was given, I thought, what could happen in that plane? How can we I'm often thinking, how do we transmute these things? And I got this very clear image of some intense healing and crying in this plane. And I started with an image, and then I remembered the beings, and you'll see how I brought them in. So here's Love Force 1.
On earth, give me light, give me life, keep me free from birth, give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you with heart and soul.
So thank you. I really, and this is all in the silent era of AI filmmaking. We then moved into VO3 coming out where you can do voices, and I'll show you that video after if you want to see, like, with talking. Now we're kind of entering we went from the silent era, like in filmmaking, to the talkies. So now we're in the kind of talkies phase. So if I were to make those videos now, I could actually sync up the lips and do all the stuff. But also part of the fun is kind of making them quickly, like I say, intuitively emergent. Sometimes I don't have a script, like with that one. I just had an image and I kept building. And then I thought about the beings driving the thing, because it would want to be operated by a higher intelligence, the plane. So, I'm happy to answer questions. I'm happy to show you more videos. I'm happy to show you how I make them or share more about the tools and the process. I kind of want to, yeah, the music there, that was another inspiration. As I was making it, I had been listening to that record because they had remastered it and put it out, I think, last year. And I thought, well, I mean, that is the song, you know? So yeah, I mean, this is the other thing is with Instagram and YouTube to some extent, but Instagram 90 seconds, you can use any song you want. This used to be a dream when I was in the commercial space. You would have to pay $1 million to get a song like that, you know, for a commercial.
Monetizing it.
Right. And I'm now monetizing it. And I felt like this is the perfect song and I could edit to it and then resync it on Instagram. So it's the royalties or whatever it generates goes back to whoever owns that catalog. So it's another way. All of a sudden we've got access to these iconic songs. We've got this iconic imagery that can be generated. That's again playing off the culture, and we've got music that really hits you in a different way, in a different place, you know.
I would love to know something a little bit more about the how, because I've been playing with this stuff and I feel like I only get to a certain point and then I sort of glitch out.
Yeah.
So well, first I don't even understand, because like when I try to create like a Trump or a Zuckerberg or whatever, I sort of get access denied kind of vibes. Like, is there one of the platforms that allows you to do that?
So you can't do everything everywhere. So if you're working with known people, it seems like Sora lets you do it right now. That's the one I use. And Midjourney.
What is Sora? What is Sora?
Sora is ChatGPT. So if you're subscribed to the higher tier of ChatGPT, you get access to Sora. And Sora is images and video. The video is terrible, but the images are really good. So I can show you.
Higher tier being just $20 a month.
Yeah, I think you can get one for. I'm going to try to show you here. See if I can pull up some very disorganized. I work very chaotically and disorganized, so it won't look pretty, but it'll give you a sense of what we're trying to do here. So if you go to Sora, you'll see that I have all my. So I just did one, which I can show you later. I go to my media. I just did one of the Alligator Alcatraz, the Trump. I'm just going back because I've done a couple of tests since, and I see this is the thing. I could organize them by folder. Okay, so here we go. So I had this image of what if these guys get trapped in their own, this horrible place that has been nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz, this where they're sending the illegal immigrants. And so here, for example, I have this image of Trump, as the place is flooding. So I will typically, if I look here, this is what the prompt looks like. This prompt, I'm uploading a photo here of the actual place, and I have a filter here that I've created. That has the camera. Now, this is the difference between sort of like playing with it and going to film. Like, it's like me saying to you, like, how do you write so well and so prolifically every day? Teach me. And you could be like, I'll teach you how to write, but I don't think I can do what you do. So I would just show you just to see, like, I have a specific prompt that I've created with the lenses and camera and film stock that I like, that I'm trying to emulate. And I take a photo from the internet, and I say, composition, lens, lighting, everything, and it'll give me this image. And I'll say, that's an interesting image. Sometimes it looks more like him than not, but I want something else, so then I'll go back and remix it, play with it. When I'm happy with the image, I'll take that image, in this case, to Kling. So this is Kling. See, here we have Stephen Miller getting eaten by
and Kling is like a paid subscription service. Kling is like a paid, like you pay 20 a month for
yeah,
it, or
again, all these
something.
they have a minimum entry point of $10 to $20 a month for a number of credits, and the credits give you a number of things. So here I would take the image. I'll do it right now for you. I'll take the image of that I like. Let's say it was this one. I download it, okay, and I go to in this case Kling. There's a couple of them, and I put it here. I upload it here. Here's the image, and I say, I could say nothing and just see what it does. But what I really want in that scene is him walking towards the camera. So the camera should follow the subject, and he should be confused, confused, looking around, and then generate, 5 seconds. I don't need 10 seconds. I'm going to do this one that's faster. There's 2 modes here. There's Kling 2.0, and then there's Master, which is a step up, but you eat more credits. And here we have a great shot. Look at that. Stephen Miller getting eaten by an alligator with sound. Like, these are 4 sounds that it's generated, and I have to pick which sound I like best. I don't know if you can hear the sound. That was very realistic. I was shocked. I typically don't like horror and gore, and I never done anything like this, but I really felt these people were gloating about it. And kind of like, and they really kind of karmically needed to get a kind of gothic, Southern Gothic horror tale. So we could watch that to see where it ended up. So there you have the video, the still. If I have a voiceover, I'll go over to like what Daniel was saying, ElevenLabs, ElevenLabs.com. And if anyone has questions, put them in the chat and I'll answer that. And I'll generate a voice. I have a voiceover. So you could create a voice here. You could say a deep booming voice. This is the template, right? So you could generate a voice here. Like, I wanted a voice that was Native American, kind of like futuristic. So I made this Seminole wise man from the future, and he talks like this.
My voice is not real.
That's a great voice, right? So let's say I just write here what I want him to say. The voiceover will be such and such, and then he'll say that, And then if I think it's generate speech, and if I think
the voiceover will be such and such,
that's too
the
fast.
voiceover will be.
So I'm going to slow the voice down here a little bit. Regenerate.
The voiceover will be such and such.
Good. I'll download that, and then I'll edit everything together. Starts coming together in Adobe. I use Adobe Premiere. Some people use other things. And then we're off to the races. We're putting a thing together, That's kind of the, one thing that I didn't show you is I start here in ChatGPT. So if I have an idea, let me see, Alligator Alcatraz. Here's the first idea for Alligator Alcatraz. So we're going to go back to the beginning of this. We're going to see what was the original thing. So the first thing is research. I had this idea and I said, why don't you I'm going to have ChatGPT research myths around Everglades to create a new AI viral short. Let's send Trump, Vance, Tucker, and others to it and get them stuck there. Weird stuff happens. Vance gets eaten by a snake, local lore, maybe some Deliverance vibe. Find some of the original myths. It needs to feel real. So then it'll ask me questions, and then it'll just, this is with the research function down here. Run deep research. So this, you need the pro, I don't know, $20, $40 a month. So it's giving me all these great lores and ghost stories from the Everglades. Now I'm starting to design, I'm asking it to design some scenes based on what I said, but I don't like a lot of this stuff, Oh, this is, these are the people who, here we go. Like, now we're, songs that could work. I thought maybe it was a song. I asked it to even generate a voiceover from the future, and it's really bad. Like, a lot of this stuff comes off really bad, but it gives me the inspiration. This is what I'm saying to you, even if you don't know how to use it, to make it good, or sometimes it'll be like a weird idea that actually works. So all this is me refining and finding. Now we've got some prompts. None of these prompts made it. Like, there was no ghost ship. You won't see that. The Python, you'll see. This ended up being how I had this image of Vance getting eaten by a snake, and that's what happens at the end of this film. This is, once I'm happy here, right? I'll copy paste. I'll ask it for that prompt that you saw, the detailed cinematic prompt. I'll copy that. And we're back to Sora. Remember where I showed you?
When you say the austere prison-like interior of Alligator Alcatraz, that's enough for it to go and grab
that and the visual image. That and the visual image that you saw. I'll pull up an image for it, because otherwise it'll just make it look like an old prison, And we don't want that. So if we go back here to the, sorry to make you scroll fast, we will see that we're back to that prompt here, you know. See?
Mm-hmm.
So here's that copy paste of that prompt with the picture, and that's what's generating the image. That's really it. That's the simple.
And so the Alligator Alcatraz one took you about how many hours to do?
Again, maybe like 6 to 8.
It's amazing.
Yeah, let me see what the chat is saying. I'm now following right now. If anyone has a question, yeah, put
They
it.
can raise their hands.
Okay.
And then what do you do about the marketing of these things once you've made them?
I have realized that I have enough of a little audience that'll disseminate it, and you know, some you really don't know. I thought this Alcatraz one would be a huge hit, and it's got a decent follow. It's got good numbers, but it's not this massive thing. The Elon Trump one, the Musk in space one, that I thought, you know, would be like an okay thing, ended up being huge. So I'm not really so concerned. I'm just concerned with experimenting with the tools every week.
I get it. But when you say that it's huge, how do you know? Is it just the Instagram numbers?
Yeah, what happens when you start to go really viral is all these weird AI accounts take your video. Most of them credit you, so you get some back to you. But those accounts are very big. You know, they have millions of followers, so they will kind of rip your video and put it on their thing and tag you. So when you start seeing the mentions go up, you kind of know, oh my God, everyone's not just sharing the video, but reposting it in their own accounts who also have millions of people. So all of a sudden it's going everywhere, and it's on X and Instagram and, you know, other places.
Somebody asked about Adobe Premiere seems super complicated. And Mark, I would say that's true, but I actually was able to learn how to do stuff with it using ChatGPT, also for OBS. So basically, I think ChatGPT is the most incredible tech problem solver, because normally I would hit like a block with a program like that. I'm like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to, like, you know, have to call customer service or read a manual or something. But essentially with ChatGPT, you're working on something like Adobe Premiere, you're learning it. You hit an obstacle, and you can actually set it, you know, take a screenshot of where you hit the obstacle and send it to you. And I'm finding it basically 100% helpful in like just taking you through the obstacle and making it so that you can do your thing.
That's a great point. It's almost like ChatGPT is like the best creative assistant I've ever had. It does so much for me. It would take me so many more hours or days to make these if it wasn't for what I showed you, where it's like, I have the idea, go research it. Oh, here's 10 myths of the ever. Okay, I like these 3 now, combine them with my original idea. Oh, I don't like these 7 ideas, but keep these 3. Oh, create prompts for each of these ideas. Cinematic, make sure it has camera, make sure it has, you know, composition, lighting, the way I like it, because I've already been feeding it. All of a sudden, it's like what used to take days takes minutes.
It's crazy.
That's what's amazing here.
Problem.
And the last thing I'll say is a lot of these films that I'm making, you know, couldn't be made otherwise. Like, how could you make this before AI? So that's kind of part of my argument when the conversation veers into the other places of, like, you know, ethics or you know, taking jobs or all these things. I'm using it in a very particular way. Not everyone is, and there's a lot of slop out there, as we've all encountered. Part of my mission is to counter the slop and like the dystopia and show people that this could be used in an incredible way, to make these things like never before.
Did you see that New York Times report about how AI is now being used to manipulate elections around the world? The deepfakes, that it's had impacts like over 50 different elections already.
Totally. And I have my mom sending me daily, almost like every 3 days, things like, is this real? Is this real? Is this? And it's all not real. It's so clearly not real to me, but she can't tell. And that's kind of that's the scary thing that we're up against. I think you've articulated that really, really well. And the question is, what can we do about it collectively here in the room? There's, I don't know, 50, 100 people, like, is very smart people. Daniel attracts really good kind of forward thinking people who get the problems and is like, and have their own gifts. Each of you have your own gifts. How can we, not necessarily, we can band together, but each of the gifts also, how can they contribute to fighting all this craziness that we see every day?
Yeah, I guess that was a question I had. I mean, yeah, how could these types of, in a way they're kind of like agitprop in some sense, videos kind of like positively tilt or influence the discourse, which seems to have been so skewed, and people seem to have like lost any like mooring and like empathy or conscience or whatever. Do you think there's a way to target these more at that sector, which is kind of like fallen down this sort of like rabbit hole in a way?
Yeah. And I've gotten reached out a lot because of them. And, I can see people really trying on the left, like, what if we do one about like trying to get people like you were like a general strike, which is something you've talked about. How could we make that a thing? And I saw the farmers one and I thought it was really good, that was an AI. It was just like, the farmers banding together to do a strike, because of what's happening. And it seems to be working. It seems like it's going to happen, and a lot of people are going to unite. So yeah, it's like the thing that we all feel, the power of media being used for the highest good or to activate people in the right way.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers, of course. I just know that as a storyteller, I can make an impact now that I couldn't make 2 years ago.
Well, yeah, if you can reach 50 or 100 million people.
Yeah, and not everyone is hip to the things that this group is hip to, but it seems to be resonating at a deeper level because people are just not used to seeing or hearing that it could be different. Just the thought, planting the seed that it could be different seems to be enough sometimes. But then I really want the action, which I know, Daniel, you've talked about a lot also. It's like, how do we move the hits and the amount of attention into action? That would be the next thing to figure out,
Ari, why don't you show the Alligator Alcatraz one?
Yeah, are we ready for some horror?
Yeah, and maybe the Gurdjieff one also. And then after that, while he's showing these guys, maybe you guys can think of some questions. Because I think what we should do today, after Ari leaves, is maybe a little bit, we're going to try a breakout group, which I've never done before. So that'll be interesting. I might have to go to ChatGPT to figure out how. And then maybe we'll break up into groups of like 5 or 10 or something, and come up with little scripts for our own little AI, save the world, or how to make the utopia that we believe humanity should have, and so on. Or it could be more like scaremongering MAGA. I mean, I was playing around before the call around like a Trump visited by the ghost of Jeffrey Epstein, kind of a thing, like get this stuff out right on the current moment. It feels like it does have that possibility of really propagating, so that's
All right, here we go.
Tell us the story again, grandfather, the one about Alligator Alcatraz.
Well, long ago, men who believed themselves powerful came here. They dared to build a prison deep in this sacred marsh. They thought the swamp would be their ally, that no one could escape. But you see, children, these men did not understand the ancient power of this place. Only the virtuous can stand themselves here. Each one had to learn this the hard way. First, a man who traded his roots for ambition. A man who let suspicion rule him. A man who confused domination with strength. A woman whose smile masked her insecurities. A man who turned dreams into nightmares. And the proud one who believed the rules of life did not apply to him. You see, this land was never meant to imprison anyone. It was meant to nurture and protect life.
So I thought I earned my, I really don't like horror films or gore, but I really felt there was no other way to, I just felt this real heaviness around that place and disgust at the way they were talking about it. And normally I wouldn't go for something like that, but I just thought this one really deserves it. And everyone in there, based on their actions and what's known, needs some karmic reckoning. You know, I'm always trying to make things also that are a little, you can't say, oh, this is like some left propaganda or some right propaganda. It can't be put in a box, because that's part of what I'm trying to do, kind of post meta approach, so that it can't be kind of pinned down. But this one, I was like, they all have to die.
How did you do the soundtrack, the music?
Oh, so that's another cool thing that you could try. That's a really easy thing. There's two. One is called Suno, and the other one is called Mureka. And Suno is so fun. You can literally type, again, sign up for the basic. They'll give you a few credits for free, and just come up with a song. Sometimes with lyrics, and you can pick a voice. Sometimes instrumental. And you generate it. If you like it, you keep it. If not, you can grab a little piece and extend it. It can get more complex, but it's as simple as that. Like those two songs, I was like horror movie, slasher minimalist, because I don't like the, the crazy soundtrack. I wanted something more kind of like mysterious, ghostly. And within a few tries, I had those two tracks.
On Mureka or whatever. But then
Mureka and Suno.
did you edit it to fit with the tracks once you had the tracks?
Yeah, I mean, this is where I think, like what I was saying to you about writing, this is where my magic, I think, is the ideas, and then the ability to execute based on 25, 30 years of storytelling experience. Yeah. But really editing is always been the place for me where the magic comes together. And the editing is kind of its own language and its own thing, as most creative arts are. And to me, that's where it always comes alive and together. And that's the hardest thing to teach. I mean, you can learn editing. Again, I can take the course on writing, but to get good at it and to get the flow and figure out when to cut and when to hold, when, like the Stephen Miller thing, you're holding, because you're going to get the alligator thing. So the more you let it breathe, the more the payoff of the alligator eating him is gonna, or his avatar, let's say. We don't want to wish violence like that on anyone. His soul.
Yeah, totally. And the other thing, I guess, that you have to do with these AI videos is you have to keep them, each clip is like 5 to 10 seconds. That's all you got. So you always have
the most you get is I think 10 seconds on Kling, and VO3 gives you 8 seconds.
But
so yeah, whatever the length is of your shot, you have to think in terms of, or your conversation, now that we're getting into dialogue. Yeah. Your conversation, it has to be thought of as like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have him talk first and say the line because it's 5 seconds long. Then I'm going to do the other prompt for the other line, because it's another 6 seconds.
But how do you do it? Because when I've tried to do it, it often feels like consistency is very hard to, like, the sort of.
That's the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge right now is consistency. I try to not worry too much about it. You will see inconsistencies in Trump's, what he's wearing. I don't really get hung up on. Now that we're getting into dialogue and scenes, now there's a couple of ways and tools that I've been studying in the last 2 weeks to get that continuity right. It's a little bit hodgepodge right now, But I think in the next 2 to 3 months, we'll have one of these apps is going to come out with a really simple way to be like, always give me the same guy with the same, or the same person with the same haircut, with the same look, with the same shirt, with the same glasses, with the same. And in this context here, in the office doesn't change every time you cut inside the office. Then you have this real continuity, let's say.
I kind of like the sort of punk rock kind of like
Me too.
discount.
Me too. I don't really
I'm
care.
annoyed when it's like too perfect. It's sort of something nice that you can still sort of identify it as
Yeah.
in between. Yeah, we don't really know where this will be in like 6 months. You know, like I have whole screenplays where I'm kind of like waiting. You know, hey, like if I can make my movie with AI in a year, you know, whatever, I'll try it. You know.
Yeah. So I see a question here. Why Kling and not Runway? So I use different ones for different things. I've used VO3 for the one I'll show you with that Daniel likes, of the time travel one. I use Kling and Hailou. I don't know how to pronounce the other one. The two kind of Chinese ones. And then I've used more recently HIggsfield, which is really good for selfies and things like that. And like realistic, kind of like iPhone, shot on iPhone vibe. And
What are the advantages of Kling and Hailou over some of the other ones?
I think for me, they let you do they look really good. They're very high end, and they let you do the real people. VO3 will censor Trump or anyone recognizable because it's Google. The Chinese, I think, are not. So maybe if I put Z in there doing something weird, it'll censor it.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
It'd be nice to try. And although there is that shot of Trump comforting him, which is something you never would see Trump do in the when he's having a kind of hard trip in the plane.
Yeah. Gregory Rufa in the comments says it would be awesome if someone was aggregating the list of tools and best uses.
Yes. Yeah, maybe from the transcript of this, you could put out a little spreadsheet with links.
Yeah.
And I learn every day. I'm learning. I have to relearn how to do it now with this.
All the time. Oriana said, where do you show your work, and is there a specific audience targeted?
The main places is my Instagram, and that seems to have the most traction. LinkedIn for some of the projects take off there. X for some of them really take off there. Those are probably the 3 ones that I do. And I have a YouTube channel, but I don't really know how to crack YouTube. I just put it up there, and sometimes people watch it and sometimes they don't.
What's been your biggest, you said people pick it up. Is it like Aubrey Marcus or people like that, or Jason Silva, people like that?
I mean, Jason is a supporter. I mean, I get like for the Trump Musk one, like weird people were reaching out, like Logan Paul and these like people with these weird, they were like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. So it seems to be making its way to different worlds. And Ruffalo shared the Trump one, and a bunch of other people. It just, for me, I think I'm mostly like interested in the more the better, in that it can be seated. The more it can be seated and the more it can be seen, the better the effect of planting the seeds can be. But
there really hasn't any commercial thing for you at this point. I mean, maybe the TED you got paid something.
Well, no, the beauty of it is that I'm doing them as experiments, and the stakes are, it's like an art project. And I love that about it, because after 20 years of being in the commercial type space where you have clients and agencies and decisions and design by committee, and this is the most fun I've had, think about it. It's like, I get to do this myself from start to finish, put it out, and in some cases, millions of people watch it around the world, and it will have an impact. And I hear back the feedback loop, but I'm not doing it to like become a content creator or build an audience.
Yeah.
I have a pure kind of intent here. And so I love that about it.
Yeah, let's watch a couple.
All right. So this is part of this is inspired by a novel that my girlfriend, Skylar Brown, who Daniel knows and has worked with, is a great writer and embodiment coach and spiritual teacher. She wrote this book. Catherine Mansfield kind of came to her in like dreams and kind of telling her the story of what happened in the Prairie, and it's parallel to her story in New York. And so she finished the book, and I thought, oh, it would be really cool to try to bring Gurdjieff and the Prairie, which was this very special place, to life. Maybe you could frame, Daniel, since you know so much about these esoteric places like the Prairie, you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this was in France, right? This was Gurdjieff had developed this whole school. He was sort of trying to figure out how to bring enlightenment to the deviant Western kind of consciousness or psychology. He'd sort of been given this this sort of mission, maybe by these mystics in Afghanistan, and they sent him back to the West. Then he gathered groups in Russia. Then he moved to France, and he had a lot of really well-known, artists, intellectuals. Is this Catherine Mansfield? Is that the one who's sort of talking here? We can't hear you, but I assume that's a yes.
So you'll hear it from the perspective of Catherine Mansfield here, which was also a really interesting thing because there's no recording of her voice. So we had to figure out how, based on the description of her voice, what she sounded like, create a voice that sounded like that era. So this should be the one.
My body grows weaker by the day, ravaged by illness, incurable and relentless. Yet perhaps it's not only my body needing healing, but my spirit, my very essence. In this place of strange discipline and peculiar magic, under Mr. Gurdjieff's enigmatic gaze, through the sacred dances and their hypnotic rhythms, I feel a glimmer of something I've long sought. A chance, maybe the only chance left to confront myself. To discover a deeper strength that illness cannot touch. If there's truth to be found anywhere, it is here. And I'm so very glad I found it.
I really like the feeling of that one and capturing the era and the camera, the way the stuff looked. And also she was very sick, and she was hoping this was sort of like a last, going to the Prairie those 3-4 months was a kind of last hope. And the dances also, and the music is Gurdjieff. So the music was the stuff that Gurdjieff developed that Thomas Hardman played. There's a recording of it from the 50s. It's really cool. A lot of people use it for writing. It's kind of self-hypnotizing. And so everything there is kind of like him, his world, and her voice. Yeah, a little haunting, a little...
And when you have like the stuff that looks like grainy, it looks like
it's adding that. It's adding that. I'm saying, I'm saying in the description of the prompt, I'm saying add film scratches, add film grain, and it would do it. Sometimes it would do it weird.
Yeah.
Even since this was made in March.
The other way to do it is to go to Canva and put like a filter over it.
Yeah, you could put a filter after, but I feel like you can tell. And somehow when it's embedded in the footage, it almost looks more real. And then I add grain. I did add a grain filter afterwards in post-production. Yeah, that's a different kind of thing. And I really love that because, again, this is my other use case for this stuff is, let's time travel somewhere that wasn't filmed so much. Now, I will tell you, and this is interesting, it doesn't work as well before the invention of the camera. So the film camera is invented like in 1890s, the first versions. If you try to do like an Egypt thing, it just feels like a very bad made-for-TV costume drama. But if you do 1920s, or I've done 1950s, 60s, SLN, totally works. It's like our brain buys it because of it's the medium is the message, I guess. It's some kind of McLuhan weird thing
Yeah.
where we buy it. But yeah, I want to encourage everyone. I know I have to leave in a few minutes. I want to encourage everyone to use the stuff. Don't just be here to listen to me or to Daniel, or I mean, listen to Daniel. Or the other guests. We all have something to share, and we're all specialists in different places, but try them because it's really been made the easiest now for you to try.
Maybe in the time before Ari leaves, we could all workshop some kind of ideas. Like I was thinking maybe something with like the, as I mentioned, like an Epstein comes back to haunt Trump, kind of a ghost story. Maybe something with ICE agents, like finding love and turning into hippies. Anything that strikes you guys as like an iconic little
let's
moment, you know?
let's feel into and mind the field. I will have to leave in
Yes, Ari,
1
thank
minute.
you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
But I want to thank you, Daniel, for assembling this incredible group. I feel the collective power and I can sense where we're at. And it's great because often when I'm speaking about this in groups that are not quite there yet, the conversation becomes very much about the tools and very much about but here we're really talking about the thing I want to talk about. And I feel that, and I feel grateful and lucky to be, invited. So thank you for putting it together, and thank you everyone for contributing and holding the field. And please export these ideas and let's continue the conversation.
We will do that. Great to have you, Ari. Thanks so much for your contribution.